Hi guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button. If you like them even more, please subscribe. How's everybody doing? It's Sunday. I have still got a cold. I've got a sore throat. I've got like aches and pains all over my body. And I've managed to get up. Alexa, what's the time this morning?
Here's what I found.
Alexa, what's the time?
The time is 8:32 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Sunday the 25th of September.
Alexa, the weather. Alexa, what's the weather like today?
Currently, in Rochester it's 9 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect lots of clouds, with a high of 16 degrees and a low of 9 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
A lightning bolt walked into a bar. The barman looked up and said, "Well, strike me."
Is that funny or not? Right guys, so I basically told you what happened last night. I've been feeling rough, and I mean really rough, like I've got the flu or something, and I've been trying to basically keep away from people because I don't want to pass my germs on to other people. This feels like the flu or some sort of cold. It started a couple of days ago. I haven't got a temperature, but I feel sweaty and hot. So I got up this morning and I sort of have some sort of pain in my ankle. I don't know whether it's shoes I've been wearing around the field and they've caught my ankle, but I've got a pain in my ankle. So when I got up first of all this morning, it was hurting like hell. I seem to have moved about a bit around the flat and it seems to be easing off, but I've got to face the facts that I am getting older. I can't run around like a young thing, and when I try it and jog around the field, it does tend to hurt a bit. So my ankle's playing up at the moment. So, I mean, maybe I walked the dog too far for a little dog. Maybe I should not go around so far and ease it off a bit. He's only tiny. He doesn't need a great big jog, does he, around the field 3 times? We'll see. So, last night was a bit of a disaster. Mind you, I had fallen into a hole in the field. Now, that's probably why my leg's hurting. I fell down. And this is the leg that's got trapped in a hole about 3 times. So, no wonder it's hurting. Today, the sun's out a bit. It felt warm yesterday, warmer than it has been. So last night, yeah, Igor. I know Igor is a term for the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Esmeralda, the Bells. There's a Disney film on it, isn't there? The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I've watched it. I do know what a black and white film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I've watched as well. And he's a hideous, grotesque character. It's a male that's got a hunchback, and he falls in love with a beautiful lady. So this bloke's got a hunchback. He's got like one eye and funny teeth, and he's all hunched over. So I don't know why they named their dog Igor. Perhaps there is a character other than the Hunchback of Notre Dame that is called Egor, Igor. Right? But it's funny, isn't it? It's funny when someone's walking up the path and the poor bloke had a bald head with white bits hanging down, and a young man, a young, attractive, good-looking man, is going, Igor, don't do that, Igor. Sorry, but the guy isn't physically taking the dog away from the man. He's just shouting, Igor. Which, people burst out laughing, because they will do. And it's not funny. So it's like a comedy performance. It's like I said, when I go into Chatham Town Centre and people walking up and down, driving their bicycles at me, because it's supposed to be a pedestrian path, and you've got skateboards and bicycles, and you've got people going, right? And they were doing this before I had my hair cut, before I chopped my hair off. They were still doing it. Now, I've looked at pictures of myself last night, because it does make you feel like self-conscious. Do I really look like that? And no, I don't. Last night, what did I do? I mean, as most people do that live by themselves, potter around, make themselves a hot chocolate cup of tea, Horlicks, get a few nibbles, see what's on the telly, sit down and watch the telly, or you put your own films on. Last night I listened to songs on YouTube. So I was listening to songs on YouTube before I went to bed. Low, not a loud volume. I was flicking through YouTube songs. Slow, moving, quiet, relaxing YouTube songs. I'm by myself all the time now, especially every night. For about the past 6 years, I have been on my own. I haven't had a partner. I think Graham was the last partner that I had. Well, not partner, but someone that actually used to take me to places, pay attention to me. It was about 4 years ago, because I'm 54 on Tuesday. Graham was. That's the last chap that I really, was a companion to me. Took me to Maidstone, took me out, bought me lunch, Gillingham, the Honourable Pilot. I wrote about that in my diary. Graham took me to the Honourable Pilot pub in Gillingham, and he took me to the Penedon, and he took me to a pub, and I've written it all down where the people in the pub were being rude, they were belching, they were swearing, they were talking about things really loudly while Graham and I was trying to eat a meal together. So, when my son's been taking me for meals, it hasn't been as bad as it was when Graham, oh my God, the rude. He used to have to wait for 10 minutes to get served. He was a very quiet, reserved man, actually. He was more quieter than I was, and they were treating him like shit as well as me. It was quite odd, actually. So this rudeness, this bad behaviour for when I'm in a coffee shop or a pub with somebody else, it's actually been going on for some time, because I've gone through diaries of 2012, which is 10 years ago, when my father Derek was alive, and me and my dad walked into the pound shop in Chatham in about 2010 or 11, and this blonde-haired woman walked past me and told me to fuck off for absolutely no reason when I was walking into the pound shop with my father. And my dad turned round to me and said, "What the hell did she do that for? You didn't do anything." I know. I said, "Dad, this happens to me all the time." Another instance, my father and I were in a car. He'd bought one of his numerous cars that he had. My dad had numerous cars before he passed away. He had an Alfa Romeo, he had Ford Escorts, he even had a Land Rover. So he went through cars like hot dinners, and me and my dad were having a conversation in the car, and we were by Staples. Staples is gone now, it's B&M stores. But Staples was there, the office stationery store. And I'd been in there and got, I don't know, I think I got a shredder in there once. Anyway, I was having a conversation with my dad. And me and my dad went home to Victoria Road, 55. Dad sat outside in the car, pressed the bell, and my mum used to sit on the wall of 55 Victoria Road. She used to sit on the wall, and everyone used to talk to my mum. They used to ignore me, because I tried to say hello to some of the people, and they used to ignore me and talk to me mother Jennifer. So sometimes my mum would be sat on the wall talking to Richard, the security guard, because there was a security guard in Victoria Road called Richard, and sometimes she'd be talking to the security guard, who was always on about Maidstone. He was always talking about the Maidstone police, and he used to pounce on my dad when me and my dad got back home from somewhere, and talk about Maidstone police station. Richard, the security guard. And of course, a nickname for Richard is Rick or Dick, isn't it? Rick or Dick is a short nickname for Richard. So we came back, and Mum used to keep me and my dad waiting. So we'd be stood outside the front door for 20 minutes. Sometimes Richard would come out and grab me dad. On this occasion, she opened the door and we went in. Went downstairs. It was a dilapidated, crooked house. It was falling apart, 55 Victoria Road. Had a hole in the bathroom wall, a hole in the living room ceiling, and the back door had no glass panel in it. It was a rickety, crooked house. So we went downstairs into the kitchen, and my mum used to do to me and my dad what she does on the phone now. Did you both have a good day? What was Ginestra's flat like? What did you do in Ginestra's flat? And then she began to repeat every word me and my dad said in the car. You know, like I said, it was freaky that I said something in my flat yesterday, and then outside someone said what I was saying in my flat. Well, my mum repeated word for word a private conversation me and my dad had in the car. Word for word what I'd said to my father in the car. Now, how could she have possibly said word for word what me and my father said in the car together? Dad, what can you do? And she always used to say, when my dad went to work at Brompton Barracks as a store clerk, my dad never met Queen Elizabeth II, but he did tell me a story where Queen Elizabeth II visited Brompton Barracks, and she asked for a gold-plated toilet seat. She wouldn't go to toilet in an ordinary toilet. Apparently she asked for a special toilet that was gold-plated. But then I can't believe everything my father said because he was a liar, but that's what I was told, that the Queen had visited Brompton Barracks in Gillingham when my father Derek worked as a store clerk some years ago, and apparently she wouldn't go to toilet in an ordinary toilet. She wanted a special one. So I went to Brompton Barracks when I first came down. My dad got me a pass because they used to stand outside Brompton Barracks with live guns, live ammunition. And my dad took me in there and I got a mugshot, a photograph taken of me in 2008, Genestra Trower, not Jennifer Trower, Genestra Trower. And Dad took me into his workplace where he'd been working with his work colleagues. And he took me into the blacksmiths, and he took me into where his office was, as his desk. And there was a picture of my sister and my mum on his desk. And he said, "I'm sorry, Genestra, there's no picture of you." There was a picture of his wife, Jennifer, and his daughter, Amanda, but there was no picture of me on there. And that's the first thing I remember about visiting my dad, taking me around Brompton Barracks. And my mum, Jennifer, had never been in there. And he wasn't taking his wife around Brompton Barracks, he was taking his daughter around his workplace. My mum, to my knowledge, had never visited or gone into Brompton Barracks with my dad. So, it's just freaking me out that I don't seem to have any privacy. Because my mum used to, when my dad was working, she went, "Genestra, where are you going? What you doing? Where you going? What you doing?" And, you know, I was 40, near enough, when I came down to Chatham in 2008. And she often used to say to me, "Well, I'm trying to give you a bit of freedom. A bit of freedom. I'm 54 on Tuesday. I've still not got a partner. I've still got no real friends. And I'm still being treated like a little kid. My mum calls 3 times a day. I hope you have a good day. Picking up a bloke and, you know, because she keeps saying to me, 'Oh, Genestra, do you remember when you gave birth to Tony, you didn't tell me that I had a grandchild? And Rebecca, you didn't tell me.' And she keeps talking about babies. And I'm 54. I don't want any more children. I want to have a bit of fun. I want to get on with my life and enjoy myself. I don't want to be a miserable old sod. I'm not saying my mother's a miserable old sod, but she sits in the flat all day complaining about aches and pains, and she doesn't go anywhere, and she moans about everything. And I don't want to become my mother. I don't want to be my mother. I don't want to become my mother. I don't, you know, my mother's a separate being, you know. I don't want to be a miserable old lady. Do you know what I mean? I want to be an old lady that helps people, that is still contributing to the community, somebody that people, you know, respect. I don't want to... Why is it necessary to call me 3 times a day, 7 days a week? Do you know some children go and live in foreign countries? Some children may see their mum for lunch at the weekend, with their family, with their husband, with their wife, with their kids. And here's me at the age of 54, stuck by myself with a mother that is dependent on me. She, you know, I thought I was the one that wasn't wanted, because my sister was 5'10". She was beautiful. She was the one that was given everything. And I told you, my dad said me and my sister were an experiment. He was going to give Amanda everything and me nothing. And he was going to see how we grew up. And Amanda died at 36. I am thankful to God still here, and my father's now dead as well. But I was an experiment. I was sexually abused beaten about, given nothing, and here I am, sat here now, by myself, but I'm sat here. But I'd like to tell you all that I was an experiment. I was abused, tortured, given nothing, and I was told my dad was going to see what the result was. Well, he won't ever see the result because the poor sod's dead. He was a poor man. A poor man.